We've got a new beer from a new brewery called She Oat. It's a New England IPA with Citra, Mosaic and Talus. But what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Now, today we've got a beer which are very sort of, it's obviously another one of these pun beers. It's called She Oat, based on Murder, She Wrote. Obviously, that's Angela Lansbury there. If you remember that sort of 80s whodunit murder mystery thing. And this is a New England IPA, 5.5%. It is from a company called Pretty Decent. They're based down in Forest Gate, which is sort of East London. And yeah, they do a lot of their beers have these sort of puns based on films and TV programs and other stuff. And one of the beers that I haven't had before, but I've seen and I wanted to get hold of, was a beer that said I could buy that in Sainsbury's for £1. It was like, a sort of something that was on one of their forums or or on the website, Facebook pages or something, where someone said, I could have bought that pale ale for £1, So I thought, that sounds like a good name for a title of a beer. So they did that on their next pale ale. I thought that was quite funny. Obviously a brewer with a bit of a sense of humour. This one, I actually bought another beer which was called We're Gonna Need a Bigger Oat, which was like based on the on Jaws. But I ended up drinking that one before reviewing it. If I do get hold of it again, I will review it because it was a very good beer. But this is a, let's say, Mosaic, Citra and Talus, 5.5%, quite low for an IPA. But let's get it in the glass, see what it's all about. Certainly, obviously New England IPAs, my favourite. Talus, we get it used more and more. The cousin of Sabro, as they say, much more sort of the rose petal and, that sort of pink grapefruit sort of flavour. Beer in a glass, quite light. Again, the light is starting to go here, so it looks a bit darker there, but it still looks pretty good. It's a very hazy yellow coloured beer. We've got about 3 fingers of head there. A little bit compacted, a little bit frothy on the side there. Looks pretty good. And already I can get the aromas. It smells very tropical. Well, let's go deep in. Yeah, the pink grapefruit's quite sort of pronounced in this. But the Citra and Mosaic, give that tropical sort of mango. Citrus fruits. Bit of papaya in there as well. Passion fruit. Smells pretty good, really tropical and juicy smelling. So let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Pretty good. Lives up to its pretty decent, even. That's what the name of the brewery is. It's got a really soft, sort of pillowy sort of mouthfeel to it. Low levels of carbonation. It's got a real sort of sweet sort of juicy, fruity, orangey mango, but not overpowering. It's quite light in terms of its flavour. Pink grapefruit's obviously in there, a bit of that sort of rose petal. It's not as overly, I always find that Talus has a sort of slight Turkish delight sort of aroma and flavour, but there's a subtleness of it here. Yeah, it just sort of rounds the beer out, really. I think 5.5% is quite low for any sort of IPA, really. I like to think, the IPAs are better over 6%. I've got pale ales that are more than 5.5%. And it is light. It's quite juicy. It's very, very drinkable. Obviously the low levels of carbonation makes it slip down really well. It tastes pretty good though. Very sort of typical your Citra Mosaic combination. The Talus just gives it a little bit of an edge, I suppose. A little bit more of the pink grapefruit there. And it's not that overly sharp or bitter though. And there's a lot of citrusy, lemony, lime flavours in there as well. But there's just something in there that just stops it being like a Citra Mosaic sort of double act that we get on so many beers. A bit more of a flowery sort of flavour to it, really. It's pretty good, and I think the fact is that the mouthfeel is very soft and it's very sort of light, so it just glides down when you drink it. Yeah, I like it. Let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Murder, She Oat. This is a New England IPA. It's obviously, they're using the oat in the pun because it says here, we've used a killer amount of oats in the mash for a soft, silky, whodunit kind of New England IPA. Angela, call off the dogs. And yeah, I mean, it's got that. It's very, very sort of, I wouldn't say it's overly creamy, but it's very sort of soft and light for a 5.5% beer. It's pretty good. Aroma first though. Well, when I popped the can over, I could already get that sort of tropical aroma. And it's no different. When you put your nose to it, yeah, you get those sort of citrus fruits, tropical fruits. Nothing really jumps out. There's a little bit of a mango, papaya in there. There's a little bit of, there's a fair bit of grapefruit, pink grapefruit, sweet grapefruit, bit of orange in there as well. It just smells like a New England IPA should. It's not bad at all. I'm giving it 13 for aroma. Appearance, well, I think it looks pretty good. It's a lovely colour, lovely yellow colour. Not as thick, because it's only 5.5%, so it's not as thick as you would expect. Even though it's got used a lot of oats, it sort of doesn't really give it a thickness. It just gives it a very lightness in body. Sliver of head there, still sort of remaining. I think it looks okay. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Flavour-wise, oh, it's a very inoffensive sort of flavour. Very citrus and citra mosaic in terms of those sort of combinations. Tropical, citrus fruits, all very light and sort of subtle. Nothing sort of really big and thick and chewy in terms of flavour wise. A little bit of pink grapefruit there on the back end. A little bit of sort of rose petal, sort of something a little more flowery in there as well. It's a very light beer. It really sort of just sort of glides down. It's got a very soft carbonation. It's just generally a very soft beer. Not soft and creamy, just sort of soft and light. So I think it's a pretty good beer. I'm giving it 33. Pretty decent beer, I say. And value for money, well, yeah, I bought this from my local bottle shop, and it was, I think, just over £4. So not the for the sort of beers I usually buy from that bottle shop, it's probably a little bit more expensive, but not bad for a New England IPA. Yeah, only 5.5% though. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 for value, because I think, I expected to pay a little bit less, but then also I've bought pale ales that are more, 5.5% pale ales that are a little bit more money. But I think it's a stunning 7, I'd say, for value. And my overall experience, I like this beer a lot. It's one of those sort of New England IPAs that's so light. It does drink more like a sort of softer pale. Just because the flavour, because it's just so light on the tongue. We have had New England IPAs that have been light and pillowy like this, and I think it's always a good sign of a good New England IPA. Lots of oats in the mix. There's no sort of well, actually, as I say, there's nothing else added, but it does actually say there's lactose in it. And I'm always a bit nervous of lactose in beers, but actually it's quite subtle in here. And if it does some good stuff to the body, then great. It doesn't affect the flavour, I don't think, too much. It doesn't give you that slight artificialness to it when you put a bit of lactose in. I think you wouldn't know it had lactose in. You know it's soft, but you wouldn't necessarily say it's got lactose. Not many beers like this would have it for this lightness. So for my overall experience, I think I'm giving it 14. It's a very pleasant beer. It doesn't do anything astounding, but for me, this is a new brewery that I've not had before. Apart from I did have the, I'm going to need a bigger oat, which was also, it was a 6.5% New England IPA. That had Nelson's in it as well as Citra and Mosaic. That was a little bit more, if I remember rightly, that had a little bit more body to it, but it was still very, very sort of soft, because it was obviously another pun on using the word oats, so it had lots of oats in it. I think it also probably had lactose in it as well. But this is a good beer. It's light, it's quite refreshing. It does drink more like a pale, but it means you can drink more of them, and that's always a good thing. So 14 gives you a total score of 75 out of 100. It's I think that's a pretty fair score. It's a recommended beer. So if you see anything from Pretty Decent Brewery down in Forest Gate in East London, then let me know if you've had anything from them before, if you had this one, or if you had the, you know, I'm going to need a bigger oat. If I get it again, I will try it, because that was a good beer, and it's worthy of a review, I think. But they do lots of different beers. They do different styles as well. I'm not sure much about the brewery, but what sort of size they are. But as I say, my bottle shop seems to get a few of these different ones in, and I think Pretty Decent is a brewery to watch out for. So I hope you've enjoyed this video for today, and until the next one, you know what you're going to do. Keep on rocking.